Hey, good morning. It's Ice Age TV day. Adventures begin. I get to get in the GT350 and go get breakfast. Being the truck and trailer just a little too much to get in and out of parking spots, if you know what I mean by that. All right. I haven't driven this car much. I think my daughter's driving it more than me. Any dads know that story? Probably. Now, my mother-in-law, who lives above here, isn't going to be happy here in a minute because this thing's noisy. As we get in and get her revved up, right? All right. Listen to the noise. Or how we could do. That quiet mode. Nope. No silent mode. Oh well. Guess this car wasn't designed to be silent, right? Well, I'll hear that story later. Alright, now we're making some noise, right? This Voodoo motor is such a nice motor. And yeah, there's been a lot of issues with them, but just the sound of it. It's interesting how they didn't do the rev matching on this car. The Bullet has the rev matching. This does not, but this is the first, what is this, the first or second year of the GT350? I'll have to research that, right? 15, 16, it's a 16. They had some issues. Like the rear bumpers got issues where it sags. So I didn't know that when I bought it, and it's very apparent too. It's the GT350. I drive these different Mustangs. Being that I wasn't a guy that grew up wanting a Mustang as much as I want like a Mopar. Plymouth Cuda, a Challenger, and just interesting how older in my life I've become the Mustang guy, and it really is pretty incredible how from the GT Orange Fury Mustang I had, really is interesting in the different Mustangs. You think about it, I've had 4 different Mustangs, and actually 5. It's hard to believe. If you counted me repurchasing my GT500, there were 6 Mustangs. Meaning that my first Mustang I officially bought was actually my first official Mustang was actually a blue GT350. The Kona blue, and it's incredible how I only kept that car about 6 months, and it's kind of disappointing because it had the I can't think of the name of the seats right now. It's too early in the morning. I haven't had my coffee yet, but I went to the dealership to buy a GT50 PP1, Performance Package 1, 10-speed auto Mustang, and the dealership just had a fresh GT350 come in. And it ended up, being a really nice car, great deal, and I bought it. But I just really wasn't on the page to buy that car, but the dealership persuaded me to go that direction. So, I ended up buying it, and believe it or not, I put like 900 miles on it, and I traded it back in, which I shouldn't have ever done because the value of that car has gone through the roof. But I did it, and I bought a brand new Orange Fury GT50, 10-speed auto, PP1 package, and some guy had ordered the car, and he walked away from the deal, and so I picked that car up, and I really loved that 10-speed auto. 10-speed auto is just a fast car. So that was my second Mustang that I actually purchased in my lifetime, and that was just back in 2018. I started buying Mustangs. and all my Dodge forum buddies, like, oh no, you're getting a Mustang, you know. And so, and actually the Mustang kind of opened my eyes up to, you know, how big Challenger is. You know, I just didn't realize how big that Challenger is, and if you drive these Mustangs, you kind of understand that. So I went from that to then I've got a mind blank here again. Yeah, so I bought the Orange Fury Mustang, and then I ordered a GT500 in the fall of September of 2019, and then I just miraculously ran across my GT500 pre-pandemic in February of 2020. And then in March, pre-pandemic, right on the edge of the pandemic, I picked up that Bullet Mustang 2020. So that would have been my fourth purchase of a Mustang. Is that right? 1, 2, yeah, 4. And then, listen to the car here. That exhaust is so much fun. It's Panera breakfast time this morning. All right, time to go get Panera breakfast. I need coffee. I can't even think. But hey, when you get in late at night, if you're driving, you know, for 6 hours in a truck and trailer, what do you expect, right? Yeah, I forgot about me breaking my Shelby gas cap emblem. That's a whole other project. Jesus Christ, doesn't end. I forgot all about that. Hey, doesn't that look pretty cool? Yeah, it looks real cool, man. All right, just had Panera breakfast, coffee, egg sandwich, blueberry, probably something in my teeth or my mouth. And, you know, I was just talking about, before I got there, about, you know, how many Mustangs I've actually owned since, I believe, 2018. Is that right? I think it is. So 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so GT350, GT50, and then the GT500, and then the Bullet, and then the GT350 again. And then if you count me back with my GT500, that'd be 6 purchases. Oh my gosh, yikes. But what I was saying, you know, it's taking forever to get to the point here, but it's interesting how these cars are so different. I mean, each car has its own personality, as most people know, but the car technology in each one is so different, you know, from the 5.0 with the 10-speed auto. That was just a lot of fun of a car, and I had to trade that for GT500 when I got, you know, when I bought it back. That's the only way I could justify doing that. Didn't need 4 Mustangs or do I. So the GT350 here, the 2016 model, first generation Voodoo motor. They've had a lot of problems with these motors, but in the rear end back bumper sagging. And so this car, you know, is kind of a little bit more of a milder car. It doesn't get that rev match you get out of the, you know, out of the newer Mustangs. You know, the Bullet has rev matching. The GT50 10-speed has rev matching. The GT500 has rev matching. So it's interesting how this car here, you know, you're so used to that, you know, you know, it is a little bit more, you know, kind of a tame vehicle. Uh-oh, yikes. You know, this morning when I got up, I saw on the internet a yellow Bronco two-door. I ordered that two-door Bronco in July of 2020, and here it is, you know, December 2021. It's never come in, and I am curious to how that vehicle looks. So they have one here that's very similar to the way mine is set up. So I'm kind of like curious as to what they're trying to get out of it, and how it looks in the real real deal. But anymore, these internet locations, they'll show things to get you to their location, and then they won't have it. I mean, it's a total just get you to drive to their dealership. It's a total just drive to their dealership. And then when you get there, the story is, oh, geez, we just sold that. And just right now, driving around, I can already tell they don't have this vehicle unless they put it inside the showroom. And why they do that, I have no idea. So, interesting how, but at the same time, I don't live down here on a regular basis. I don't know these car dealerships like I do up north. So, there's Johnson City Ford. As far as I know, this is Johnson City Ford. Yeah, there it is. So, is it inside there? Nope. Yeah, so like I was telling you, that's just it's a total bring you into the dealership, and then, they don't have it. Yepper. Or somebody that works at the dealership is having a good old time with it. That could be possible too. That happens too. They get these new Broncos in, and somebody that owns a dealership or works at a dealership that's got a lot of power says, hey, all right, back to the adventure of the day, right? You're probably like, what the hell are you doing today, man? And yeah, it's back to the Indian motorcycle adventure. That's the main reason I'm down here. Don't get sidetracked on buying a car, right? Yeah, exactly. Do that. All right, back to the Mustang conversation. So for me now, being exposed to all the newer Mustangs, it's they all really do have a personality and really do have just a really different ride. And I've said from the get-go, my Orange Fury Mustang, that was truly a very fun car. And I even kind of hate to get rid of it, but at the same time, it's, how many cars do you have, right? How many cars do I have? Yeah, exactly. I had to make some decisions, and I just felt that the GT500 would be the better car to have. What do you think of that idea, right? And you'd be like, yeah, I would part with that Orange Fury GT Mustang in a heartbeat for a freaking GT500. Yeah, well, borderline double the price, borderline, you know what I mean, on that conversation. But anyways, just here enjoying the GT350, which I really haven't driven this car a lot, being that I bought it back in July. And I mean, my daughter followed me home. I shouldn't say followed me home, but when I was back up north, my daughter followed me down here to Tennessee with the car, and I brought it down here, and I pretty much parked it. It was back in July, and I never have brought it back home. So now I'm debating, do I put this in the trailer? Now, if I did that, I'd have to leave my new motorcycle. Indian motorcycle down here, which isn't really that big a deal, because I'm not going to be riding up north per se. Colder months up there. So do I stuff it in the trailer and bring it back home? Possible. Downside of this car is, watch this. I'm gonna go to 6th gear and it turns off the exhaust. So it becomes so mundane. And yeah, I know you can buy a little plug-in clip in the back of your exhaust to eliminate the flaps or the valves from, closing off the exhaust. I do know about that, but that was one thing when I first got the GT350 back in 2018 was, you'd be driving down the road and you're getting all this exhaust note out of it. Then you get into 6th gear and it just goes to a regular old sounding car. But I mean, I get what they're trying to accomplish. If you're going on a road trip, that exhaust, to a degree can become obnoxious. But you think about it, with the technology today, why would there just be a switch? Which, you know, that's what the new GT500 has, and the other newer Mustangs have, is you just have a switch. You just have a switch down there, and that little switch there turns off that exhaust noise, or it makes it louder. Now, one thing that I complained about this GT350 was you really have to rev it up. Now, one thing that kind of turned me off about my initial purchase, the GT350, is the Recaro seats. That coffee finally made me remember the Recaro seats, which if you're a pretty big person, those Recaro seats, they don't work. You know, after an hour, man, you do not want to be in that car anymore. They're just too tight. It's a racing seat. It's designed to bolster you in and go 150 miles an hour down the road through, you know, the racetrack, and you stay in your seat. But you ride around regularly, they're the worst. They don't have heated or cooled capability on them either. So that was the first negative on that. And the next negative was I just wasn't used to having to do a high rev V8 motor, and that's what these motors are, high rev engines. And they're known for just guzzling oil because it's a loose motor. This motor, you know, is deliberately built loose so you can get incredibly high RPMs out of it. But the drawback of that is you have to get it into high RPMs in order for you to be able to get the power out of it. So you're coming off a light, you're borderline racing the car to kind of get it going down the road. And what I really witnessed many times is you'd have the Honda Civic guy, you know, piped out, and he literally thinks you're racing him. You know, and it's like, dude, I'm not racing you. This is just the car's personality. You got to give it a lot of gas and a lot of RPMs for it really to kind of come to life. So, in my eyes, she was just a total dog off the line without really getting into the car, you know. So, and this car really wasn't designed to be the straight line car. You know, this car was designed to go around the racetrack and hug the corners and just be a badass, you know, track car. Not a straight line car. So that was, to me, that was just a big negative. And after driving the Mustang 10-speed auto, keep in mind at that time I had my Hellcat, I believe my Plum Crazy Hellcat. And, you know, I'm just used to power right out of the gate. And then like my test drove a GT50 10-speed auto Mustang, you know, that thing was fast. I mean, that thing goes through the gears. It's very fast. So I just kind of came to closure, and, you know, it was that Kona blue. It was just too dark. You know, Kona blue, dark interior. I don't know. I just couldn't get excited about the car. I mean, beautiful car, but, you know, and the irony here is I'm back in a GT350, and one of the reasons I'm back in the GT350 is I didn't think I'd have our GT500 probably back in my life again, you know, for a good year or two due to pandemic hardships that I experienced. And I just really kind of came to closure that, well, I'll just have to get a GT500 maybe a year or two later. In the meantime, I'll just pick up a GT350 again just to kind of get back to Shelby product and have fun with that. And that's really the reason I'm back in this car. Had I known I was going to get my GT500 back, I probably would not have bought this car. But at the end of the day, this really is a great car, and my daughter just loves this car. And this is a car for my daughter where you're confident in her capabilities. And, you know, yeah, in today's world, this sells a lot of power. But yeah, she drives the GT500. No. Has she driven it? Yeah, I mean, you follow her home from the service department. Her taking it to school and stuff, that ain't happening. Even this car here, you know, that'd be hard to even justify that just because of the exposure. These cars are very sought after. GT350s aren't made anymore, so this is a car that'll have incredible value forever as long as you don't run it into the ground. All right, back to the house. Get the truck started up. I don't know how I'm going to get it out of the driveway. That's going to be a challenge. Yeah, I usually have my daughter with me to help me maneuver this truck and trailer. And, you know, I don't know if my mother-in-law is around or not, but have to back this truck and trailer out of the driveway. And somebody would say, well, just pull it around a circle. You can't. You got trees that will tear up the freaking trailer. So I got to get this thing back out on the road, which I don't think would be that bad. But, yeah, right? Famous last words. All right. Another driving down the road, right? Better check her over, right?